Hi, I'm Professor Martin, and in this video, we're going to continue our conversation on student behaviors. We're going to cover the next 6 positive student behaviors that you can do and that successful students do that lead to high achievement in college. Okay, so we're at number 7, and as a reminder, the behaviors we're going to discuss are actions. They're verbs. They're things that we're going to do instead of the things that make us us, right? So they're not our characteristics necessarily, okay? It's just actions that we do. Number 7 is we want to be ready. Our verb is to be ready. We want to be prepared to actively engage in class. Okay, this goes a little bit with earlier verbs from the last video. And how do we be ready? We show up having had breakfast or lunch or whatever meal comes right before the class, or we want to have had a snack. We want to be ready to actively participate. We want to be ready to engage with the class, with our peers, with our professor. We want to be ready to answer questions. So if you're talking about the homework, if you're doing a homework review, you need to have done your homework. If you're revising an essay, you need to have written the essay so that you can be doing the revisions, right? You just want to show up ready. If you show up and you have absolutely no supplies and tools and the things that you need to be engaged, you're not ready. Okay, just showing up is just not going to be enough. It's not a success behavior. Showing up is the bare minimum, and as a college student, you're expected to show up. So you don't earn any kind of benefit from just being there. You need to be there and you need to be ready. Okay, it's to your benefit. Again, tuition is very expensive, and as you go up in your education, it's just like, it is astronomical. Like, you wouldn't believe, if you have not researched yet the cost of education, especially if you're currently receiving a grant or a scholarship and you're not paying anything for your college education, research it. Okay, you know the value of what you're getting if you're making payments. I have tuition and I pay out of pocket, and it is mind-blowing how much the tuition costs. So don't just show up. You want to be ready. Get your money's worth. You want to be ready, okay? It's your success. You have to be ready for it. That's number 7. Number 8 is start. You want to start assignments early. We do not want to procrastinate. We do not want to do it at the last minute. And we'll talk in a later video about proper time management and doing your homework and getting studying done. But you want to start. You want to start early. If something is due in a week, you do not want to wait until the night before. Okay? Sometimes an assignment will seem, theoretically, it will seem very easy. And then once you start it, you might realize, oh my gosh, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, or it requires material that I don't have, or I didn't have the textbook and I thought I could do the course without the textbook, but I see that I can't because I'm told to reference specific page numbers and paragraphs. So now I have to go buy the textbook, and you never know what could delay you. All sorts of things pop up. And a lot of times when students don't get an assignment done, especially if it's a big one, I'll get an email saying, yesterday this happened, my dog died, or my aunt's sick, or my baby sister couldn't go to daycare because she has a fever. So there's a million things that can come up, and those things tend to come up at the last minute, right? If they happen the day your homework is assigned and you have a whole week, it shouldn't derail you. You should still be able to get your homework done on time. But most of the time, these urgent matters come up right before an assignment is due. If you've waited until the last minute, you have to choose between, do you take care of your sick baby sister, or do you get to not go with your aunt to the hospital, or do you not get to take your, like your poor dog, like you don't get to go handle that. So start early, start really early. I cannot stress that enough. If you want to be successful, you have to start early. Just assume that things are going to pop up. Even if you have a very lucky, smooth life and you don't have a lot of urgent things that come up, without fail, once you become a full-time college student and you're juggling so much and you start to become overwhelmed, urgent things, they just happen. They come out of nowhere. Even if it's never happened, it just starts happening. It's just a thing. So just assume that urgent things are going to pop up, or that they could, right? If you're prepared for things, it doesn't often become a thing, right? It's just about being prepared. So start your assignments early. Start your assignments early. If you tell your professor, I planned to do my homework yesterday and then my dog got sick and we had to go to the vet, all your professor is going to say is you had 6 days before yesterday. So, right, like we can't manage your time for you, and the assignment is due when the assignment is due. So just start early. Okay, I want you to be successful. You need to start early. Okay, so that is number 8. Number 9 is being self-sufficient. You want to be self-sufficient. What does this mean? Okay, so the days of having your hand held, those are over. Okay, so you need to leave that in high school or whatever your lower level of education is. Once you become a college student, no one is there to hold your hand, okay? It is not your professor's job to hold your hand and to guide you through every little thing. There isn't time for that. Your professor probably has a full course load and they're probably teaching numerous other classes, sometimes at different universities. There isn't time for your professor to handhold 60 or 100 students every semester, okay? So there is no handholding. Being self-sufficient means that you're going to try to find the answers to your questions by yourself, or you're going to seek other assistance before you go to your professor. If it's something really easy, let's say that you have an assignment, like my students just were practicing their Canvas, right? Their Canvas skills, we're learning how to use Canvas. So oftentimes students will send me an email, something like, can you tell me how to send a message in Canvas? Okay, so that is very easy. You can Google that in about 10 seconds flat, right? Just go to Google, how to send an email in Canvas, enter, and about 200 million answers will come up, right? It is super fast. It is easy. If you can find the answer yourself with a Google search, you need to be self-sufficient and you need to find that answer yourself with a Google search. And I'm going to say Google in a very general sense because I love Google as a search engine, so it's just what I use. I love Chrome, but you can use any search engine of your choice. Feel free, you do not have to use Google just because I say Google. It's just one of the many different search engines. So use whatever you'd like, but do an internet search, okay? If it's something that you can't find online, like maybe it's something specific to your homework or to an assignment or to a due date, right? Always go to the syllabus. Go to the syllabus, which will often give you the answer to 99% of the questions that you have about the course. If something is not in your syllabus, go to a peer, right? You want to be building those peer-to-peer relationships so that you guys can help each other out. Again, your professor might have 50 or 100 or 150 students per semester, and it's going to take them a long time to get through the emails, especially if they receive a lot of emails where students are not acting self-sufficiently. Okay, so it's just a lot of emails that waste everyone's time. It's just not a good use of time to ask very simple questions that a quick internet search can give you the answer to. So if your professor has to answer a whole bunch of these, it might even use up what little bit of time they have to respond to emails, and then they don't have time to get to the questions that can't be answered by anyone but them. Okay, so we want to go to do an internet search first. Then we want to ask a classmate. Okay, so if you can't remember what the directions were for a particular assignment, maybe you forgot to take notes, which we know we want to be taking notes, right? We want to be actively engaged. We want to take notes and practice active listening. Maybe you are driving and you forgot your notes, or you just don't have them. They're at home, you're on the road, or you're out of town. So write to or call or text another student or multiple students, but try to get help from another student first. They're going to be able to help you faster. Sometimes if you have a question, just hearing it explained from the standpoint of another student is more beneficial than having the professor say it because they've already said it in class. Like, I'm sure they have probably already said anything you would have a question about in class, and if you still have a question, you probably missed it, right? You missed class, or you were absent that day, you were late, or you just didn't hear it, or maybe you were distracted, or you just didn't write it down so you don't remember hearing it, or you remember hearing it but you've just forgotten the answer. So look it up first yourself. Go to a classmate. If you cannot find the answer, it is okay to ask. Okay, that is what your professor is there for. So you can, at that point, you can send your professor an email or reach them whatever way they prefer to be communicated with. It is okay. Okay. And as just a little side note, you don't have to apologize to your professor when you send them an email, and you don't have to say, I'm so sorry to bother you, or I know it's the weekend, I'm sorry for writing. You don't have to do any of that. Okay. We love to help. We're here to help, but we only have so much time. So you want to be self-sufficient, and you want to demonstrate that you're a self-sufficient person, because sooner or later you will need a recommendation, whether it's to get into another college if you want to transfer, or if you're moving and you just need to reapply to another college. If you want a job, there are a million different reasons why you might be applying for a scholarship or a grant, and it requires professor recommendation. All of these things, you might need a recommendation from your professor. And if you're constantly showing that you're not self-sufficient, your professor might not feel that it's appropriate for them to give you a letter of recommendation or to recommend you for that job or that scholarship. Like, they just might feel that there are other more qualified students, especially if it's something that's really competitive or it's really hard to get. You really want to show that you deserve and that you've earned these things, right? And one of the easiest ways to do that is just to be self-sufficient. Okay? Really impress your professor. Be self-sufficient. They will love you for it, I promise. Okay? So we want to be self-sufficient. The next is that we want to, and this is number 10, so we're almost done. Number 10 is you want to create. You want to create a balanced life for yourself. Now, I know this is really tough. I am still, like, every semester I have to start completely over because the schedule differs every single semester. So even if I finally, towards the end of the semester, feel like I've finally gotten everything in balance and I have time to see my friends and see my family and still get all of my work done and get my own personal studying done and go out of town for the weekends and just really enjoy things without feeling like I'm struggling in any one category, the semester ends and then I have to start all over again. So I know it's tough. I know it's really tough to find balance. If you have a good balanced life, that's amazing, right? You're so far ahead of most, not even most students, but just most human beings, right? Because we all, at least from time to time, like, we all struggle with having balance in our life, right? You don't want to have time where, like, periods of time where you don't have time to see your friends, or you don't have time to get your homework done, or you don't have time to go to the gym if you enjoy going to the gym. You want to have time to do all the things you want to do and just manage it to where you may not get to see your friend for the whole 3-day weekend, but maybe you can go to lunch together. Okay, so you want to try to create some balance for yourself. Not having time to do your homework is just not an excuse. So when you come to your professor and you say, I really wanted to do my homework, I plan to do my homework, but I didn't have time. I have to work, I have to babysit, maybe you're a parent and you just, you say, with my children, I didn't have time, or my children were particularly difficult this week, or they were sick, or they had their own school homework and I couldn't find a tutor, and so I had to tutor them. There's a million different reasons, right? But if you don't have enough balance to get your homework done, or to get your schoolwork done, or to get to class on time, or to take the time to send an email properly, right? When you communicate with your professor, you want to be professional. You want to have good grammar, use complete sentences, all those things. If you're rushed and you don't have time to do that, right, it just shows that you don't have balance in your life. Okay, so some area of your life is just, you're not giving enough time and care and attention. We really don't want that to reflect poorly, and we don't want that to become a negative student behavior. Okay, so the sooner in the semester you can work on getting balance in your life, the better off and the easier it will be. My goal for you, I want the best for you, and I want you to have nice, easy, enjoying your time as a student, right? It should be fun. Probably not every day, right? But in general, it's nice to be able to look back at your college education as a positive experience. So try your best to just create balance. Okay, so number 10 is to create balance. Again, it's not easy. I'm not perfect at it. I don't know a single person who is perfect at the balance, but just give it a try. Try your hardest, okay? Number 11 is going to be to manage your time. Again, this is one of those things we're kind of getting harder. We're getting to the action words, to the verbs that are harder to accomplish than at the beginning of the list, but you want to manage your time. This means not waiting until the last minute until your homework is due. If you have a lot of obligations other than your education, if you're a parent, if you work, maybe you have more than one job, or maybe you freelance, so you have multiple clients at any one time. If you have things going on other than your schoolwork, your career as a college student, it's really important that you try to sort out your time so that everything gets done. You may not get to devote as much time in every single category as you would like, but it's really important that if you have a deadline, your deadlines get met. Being a student takes a lot of time. It takes a big time commitment, not just in the 4 years it takes to get a bachelor's, the 2 to 3 years to get a master's, the who knows like how many to get a doctorate, right? Like it could be anywhere from 3 years to 7 years or beyond. It's a big time commitment, but also just within each semester, right? It takes time to learn a subject, to learn material, to master the material, especially if it's brand new. It takes time. So if you have a deadline, right, for my students, every single class, regardless of what subject it is, my students have homework that is due 2 times a week. 2 times a week, and at least one of the time is over, like they have over the weekend period to get their homework done. So my students need to manage their time to where they can get their homework done twice a week, and they need to get it done by the deadline. Because if you have not already heard me say this 1,000 times, I do not accept late assignments, right? It's all about time management. You do not get to turn homework in late because we immediately grade it and it's given back to you so that you can revise and make improvements, if you didn't get the answer right, to then go research and get the right answer and to write it down and to revise your homework or to revise your assignment, to revise your project, whatever it is we're doing. But you need to learn how to manage your time. You can't turn it in late. If you had a job and you had a deadline, your boss, it would not go over well if you missed the deadline, right? You're likely to lose the job. Your boss is going to find someone else that can deliver on time. If you have clients and you're not delivering to your clients on time, not only might you be in breach of contract, but it's gonna look terrible on you. Like it's gonna say that you're not a professional. Okay, we don't want that. So you have to learn how to manage your time. Okay, so number 11 is manage your time. Very, very important. All right, our very last one, this is successful student behavior number 12. You want to save. You want to save time. We want to be really efficient with our time. We don't want to waste time. Even if we're not in the habit of wasting time, we still want to try to find ways to use our time more efficiently. The biggest way that I do this personally, because my life is hectic most of the time, again, between teaching all of my courses and my own education and all of my hobbies and my goals and my dreams and all the things that I have going on and my personal relationships, I try to use my time as effectively as possible. I like to do things such as I don't go get my own groceries. I use a grocery delivery service. I order as much online as I can to save myself the time of being in the car. I live really close to the college campus that I teach at. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the car, especially because I drive myself. So it's essentially just time that isn't used very well. If you would like some suggestions, what I do personally to be most efficient with my time, that is just the number one tip. If I could just suggest one thing to you to use your time efficiently, it would just be in the car as little time as possible, because it is just not time well spent. If you would like a personal suggestion for how to get your groceries and your household items and all the things you need delivered, I personally use Walmart Plus. I have used them forever, like pretty much since it first came out. I really like it. I've used it in several different states. This is just my own personal recommendation if you'd like to give it a try. You can have your groceries delivered. You can also have any household items delivered. So if you're out of toothpaste, if you need some body wash, if you need some oil for your car, it doesn't matter what you need. If Walmart sells it, which is pretty much anything, you can have it delivered with your groceries or on its own, right? So you can combine them, you can get everything all at one time. But I just set mine up to be automated to where twice a week I just have my groceries and then anything else that I need delivered on a regular schedule. And then if something comes up and I run out of something or I need something, I just log in and I just add it to my cart and then it comes in the next delivery. So right now Walmart Plus is $98 for the entire year, which I think is a steal. And like I said, it's a great value. It's what I use personally. There is a code below where if you sign up for Walmart Plus, you do get $20. So if you would like an extra $20 and you want to give it a try, that's what I suggest. It's not the only one out there, of course, so you can try whatever works good for you. And as long as you're saving time, that's all that matters, right? So just be really efficient with your time so that you can have more time to do homework, especially for my class, right? Get your homework done. So that is all for the last 6 of our 12 tips for some positive student behaviors. Again, remember that the negative behaviors that we want to try to not do is just going to be the opposite of all of these positive behaviors. Okay, we want really good positive student behaviors that are going to lead to success. So we want to do as many of these 12 as possible. Don't forget, just like in the last video, you want to go back to your strength and weakness chart, your note paper that you've made. And you want to take these additional 6 things and just do a quick self-assessment. Which of these are your strengths? Which of them are your weaknesses that hopefully you're going to spend a little time with and brainstorm and figure out how you can take that weakness and make some modifications in your life and be able to add them to your strength category. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing day in class, and I'll see you in the next video.